Sam Carter recently had the chance to talk with a travel expert alongside a very special guest about a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
In the words of House Stark, winter is coming. And if you are a fan of one of the greatest TV series of all time, you're definitely going to want to listen up to the experience that could be of a lifetime. Live all the way from Bainbridge, Ireland, where I actually was just about 3 or 4 months ago. We are joined by travel expert Gabe Saglie and Game of Thrones star Ian McElhinney, who played Sir Barristan Selmy, to tell us all about this Game of Thrones experience. Gabe, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I appreciate you.
Great to join you. Ian's going to join us here in just a sec. What's been cool is actually being here this morning and seeing these Game of Thrones fans recognizing Ian and getting their selfies and getting the autographs from him. So you're going to meet him here in just a sec. But listen, this is unlike anything that any television show or movie has ever done before. They've literally kept many of the sets in Game of Thrones intact and built this interactive, immersive experience all around them. And as a fan, you get to come in here and be a part of it all. This is, for example, the Great Hall at Winterfell, where Jon Snow would have been declared King of the North. This is Dragonstone and the infamous map table where so many of those battles were devised. So the props here larger than life, and the technology, the green screening technology you get to access is state of the art. One of my favorites is Beyond the Wall here, where you're actually walking into the frozen north and running into characters like the White Walkers or the Night King or some of these magnificent giants up close and personal, and amazing attention to detail. And listen, you might even run into one of the stars of the show, as you mentioned, Ian McElhinney, Barristan the Bold, the Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, here in the flesh, who was for the first 5 seasons of the show. It's nostalgic, at least, for you to be back here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I filmed in season 1 in the King's Landing set, because that was the home of Robert Baratheon. Only in season 1. After that, I took off to find Daenerys. King's Landing set was a wonderful set, and it is here now in this studio, and it's just great to be able to kind of like revisit it and reimagine myself being on it all those years ago. And if you come as a visitor and you're in situ in that, you think, I'm here. I'm in Westeros. I'm in King's Landing. I could be very powerful. I could be very dangerous. Who knows? But I'm here, you know, so it's exciting.
You're looking overhead for dragons that might be flying by. And by the way, Ian is a local. He lives in Belfast, which is about 30 minutes north of here. But Northern Ireland itself, I think, becomes almost like a supporting character of the show. Dark Hedges, for example, King's Road. This is your home. This is where you grew up, Ian. So it's got to be such a neat thing to see your own backyard featured so prominently in this series.
Well, Northern Ireland is a very beautiful part of the world, and obviously the show has helped to kind of promote that fact. And part of what we would love people to realize is when they come to Ireland, come north, don't only come here and see this wonderful experience, but go out and enjoy our beautiful country. We have a fabulous coastline, we have fabulous hillsides and seashore and all the rest. It's really worth visiting, and take advantage. Come and take advantage.
As I mentioned, Belfast is 30 minutes north of here. Dublin, I flew into Dublin. It took me about an hour 20 to drive straight north. Super accessible. The tour is self-guided, so you can spend as long as you want. So I say at least 3 hours you want to do, right?
3 hours, and then who knows, perhaps a couple more for retail and eating and stuff like that. But the tour itself, don't rush yourself. Take whatever time you need, because it is beautiful and it's pretty comprehensive. And you can not only see the stuff that relates to Westeros and to the Game of Thrones, but you can see the whole history, in a way, the history of filmmaking, the history of how this was made, and it teaches you a lot about the whole art of filmmaking, so it's fascinating.
Yeah, a must-do if you're a Game of Thrones fan, for sure.
Gabe, I don't want to cut across you too much, because you're crushing it right now, but one of the things, I've been lucky enough to actually be in that part of the world for a pretty significant period of time, and it really does become a character. It really, the setting, those parts of Northern Ireland really do become a character. Talk to me about, outside the Game of Thrones experience, how great it is to kind of be in that setting.
Well, and listen, you know better than I do. This part of the world, it really comes to life during the holiday season. We got to hang out at the Christmas market in Belfast outside City Hall last night. You know, the lights, the crowds, the food, the music, and it really lights across the entire city. You know, Belfast is made up of these beautiful little alleyways in the city center that are all lit up. But, you know, a lot of people love to come here during the summer season. But I'd say that there's great bang for the buck for people who come in the winter and the spring.
I think one of the things you have to recognize if you come to Ireland is something you didn't mention is what we call the banter. Yes. People are very forthcoming. People are naturally very friendly. They'll pull your leg and you have to get used to the fact, but just have your smarts with you and realize that, you know, it is only leg pulling. But there's, as we would say in this part of the world, there's great crack to be had.
Yes.
And we have some great bars if you're into that world. And we have some fantastic music in those bars if you're into sort of Irish music and stuff. There's a lot of character and a lot of charm and a lot of fun to be had in any town or city in Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
And the eating, by the way, as I'm sure you discovered, the eating is fantastic. I mean, you know, this is world-class eating in places like Belfast and Dublin, and even in the small villages in between, where some great chefs have, if they studied elsewhere in the world, are now coming back. It's all regionally sourced, and it is world-class.
Very diverse menu now, very diverse. It's not just, you know, local quote. It's a international menu. You know.
I mean, Belfast is a global city. It's an incredible place, a global, very, very global city. Guys, really quickly, what are some of the kind of just exact details people need to know about the Game of Thrones experience, and how can people get in touch, and how can people take part?
Well, check out their website, which is GameOfThronesStudioTour.com. You want to, if you can reserve your tickets ahead of time, you want to schedule your visit. But then once you're here, you spend as much time as you want. Kids 16 and under are free, which is great. You can buy tickets that'll get you transportation included out of Dublin or out of Belfast. It's super easy to do. And of course, more and more flights being added. We're back to like pre-pandemic level number of flights out of the U.S. now. So again, especially easy to get here.
And with the current rate of exchange, it's all very modestly priced as well.
Absolutely. It really is an incredible place, having been there myself. Ian, Gabe, when I'm there next, we'll get a pint of the black stuff. And
there you go.
We will
we'll save you one of those for sure.
Yes, absolutely. And we'll hang. Really been a true honor. Go check this experience out. Even if you're a casual Game of Thrones fan, you know that not only this is the actual setting of Game of Thrones, but the countryside, it comes to life. It's an unbelievable place. I wouldn't recommend getting married there, but that's just from a Game of Thrones fan. Guys, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.